Hi ma'am, good day, and I'm Cherry Matrus. I'm presenting my OJT proposal, my two-story residential building. So first is the activity 1 for description of non-conformity. First is the entrance door width and height is lesser than the requirements. Requirements width and height of a required exit doorway shall be of a size as a permit the installation of a door not less than 900 millimeters in width and not less than 2 meters in height. Mauni ang so width is the 0.7 and the height is 1.81. Second is the ceiling height is lesser than the requirements. The requirements, the minimum ceiling height of the first story shall be 2.7 meters and that for the second story, which is the 2.4 meters. So, yung ceiling sa mong first story is 2.27. In the second floor, 2.12. So, the third is the stairs rise and run is lesser than the requirements, and fourth is the stairs width is lesser than the requirements. So mauna mo stairs siya, ang width niya is 0.54 and the rise and run is 0.2 meter and 0.16 meter. So that's all for activity 1. Going to present my architectural plan. So this is my foundation plan and the second floor plan, the ground floor plan. So now there are stairs, kitchen, dining area, the living area, CR. The second floor ay duha ka bedroom, then hallway. So the lot area of my two-story building is 36 square meter. So work plan. So is the window 1, window 2, the door 1, which is the entrance and exit door. The door 3 is the bathroom, and the door 2 is the bedrooms, stairs and hallway. Window 1, window 1 for the second floor. So this is my vicinity map located at Matina Playa Road. Site place is the Cogon Times, Matina Playa, Davao City. My perspective, two-story residential building, and my roof framing plan. So na siya katason for the first floor, na siya katason na 3.3 meters and for the second floor is 3.1 meters from roof beam to apex line of truss is 1.8 meter. And for the activity 2, which is the structural plan and the Excel output for the beam design analysis. So group number 2G-1 is the beam parameters, which beam width is 350 millimeter and the beam height is 400 millimeter, depth 342. The effective depth prime is 58mm. The cover concrete is 40mm. The layer spacing 25mm. Main bore size 16mm. Yield strength main or FY is 275 MPa or grade 40. Stirrup diameter is 10mm. Stirrup for yield tension 276 MPa. So the positive moment for mid span is 9.314 km per Newton. The negative moment is for left span 30.586 and the right span is 37.069. So initial designs, the top bars and the bottom bars. For the final design, so pasados. Analysis for normal loads, which is the effective depth is 342, effective depth prime 58mm, the area of main steel 402 1.1248mm squared, and so calculation of A and C is analyze as single or double. So, analysis for reversal loads, calculate A and C. Remarks tension steel yields. So grade niya is grade 40 or 275 MPa. So save. And for the column design, so Urals backing loads, the column length is 3.3 m for the first floor, and the intersection is 400 mm by 400 mm. So the given value is for FC is 28 MPa and the yield strength is 275 MPa. The elasticity, which is the 7461.96 MPa, and the ES is 200,000 MPa. So the PU is 350.776 kilonewton and the PZ is 236.318 kilonewton. Ito na siya dimensions na length is 3,300 mm and base 400 mm and the height 400 mm. The total number of column is 6. So dimension column 1, column 2 in the girder, the beam and column connections, the joint 1, and for the value of K from alignment chart is 1.67. Summation of PC 23,145.3 kilonewton. So for the first floor 2 girder connection, the x-axis and the z-axis. So this one, and check if the column slender of not or the from the result taken in STAAD Pro. one, the column design. Which is E equals to 1,111.05. The area of grids is 160,000 millimeter squared. And for the design for ties, which is the tie diameter is 10 millimeter bar. The column ties is the 256 mm and 480 millimeter, 400 millimeter for less diameter. So use spacing minimum of 256 millimeter. So for the computation of loads, dead loads or exterior walls is the materials is 150 mm thick masonry wall with plaster both sides. Siya loads na 12.654 kilonewton over meter. And for the interior walls, same ang load sa exterior walls. And for the floor loads, the concrete slab is 3.54 kPa, and the roof deck slab is the 2.832 kPa. Then ceramic party tile on 25 mm mortar bed is 1.1 kPa. So the live loads, the occupancy, which is the hallway, is 4.8 kPa. In the bedrooms, 4.8 kPa. In the restrooms is 2.4 kPa. So for the cracking width, the dry air is 0.41 mm, designed for cracking width, and moist air soil 0.30 mm, then de-icing chemical 0.18 mm, seawater and seawater spray 0.15 mm, used in water retaining structure 0.10 mm. So from the table of 6.3 permissible crack width from the NECP. So beam width, so nasa 350 mm, and beam height 400 mm, effective depth 292 mm, and the cover concrete is 40 mm. The concrete computation strength is the 28 MPa, and the main yield strength is 275 MPa. The stirrup diameter is 10 mm. The elasticity of concrete is 17,461.96 MPa, and the electricity of stirrups is 28 MPa. So the top bars and the bottom bars. So conclusion, if WS is less than 0.41, which is safe siya. So safe kay mas dako ang 0.41 kaysa sa W na nakuha. For the isolated square footing. So for the isolated square footing, so footing parameters, this base is the 2 meter, and the depth footing is 2.8 meter, and the diameter of 16, and the yield strength is 21 MPa, and yield strength of footing is 275 MPa. Allowable bearing capacity, allowable bearing capacity 104.628. So beam. 3.3, the check for capacity, which is passed. Check for stability is passed. And the design for shear, the one shear at section 1 by 1. So nasa depth na 0.25 meter distance. The one-way shear at section 2 with Z equals to 0.25 meter. The two-way shear, so use 0.3 meter or 300 mm and thickness for 400 mm. The design for flexure at section, so the X bar is 0.776. Na nakuha nga 12 bars, spacing is 260 mm. So the footing, this dimension is base 3.3 m and the length of 3.3 m. Use 12 bars and 16 mm diameter of space. Thickness of 400 mm. And for the serviceability, so from the group number of 2G-1, the beam parameters is length girder, beam length or length 4,500 mm, and the width of girder is 400 mm. The depth of girder is 350 mm. Effective depth is 292 mm. The cover concrete 40 mm. Diameter of bar is 16 mm. The number of bars is 6. So condition is the fibers of deflection is okay, therefore the deflection of girder is good. So the group number of roof beam -1, which is the beam parameters, is 4,500 mm. The width girder is 400 mm. The depth girder 250 mm. And the effective depth is 292 mm. The cover concrete is 40 mm. The diameter of bars 16 mm. The number of bars 3. So this condition is 5 years or maximum of 5 years. The deflection is okay, the deflection is good, is good. And the stirrups, and for the stirrups, beam width is 400 mm and the beam height is 550 mm and the effective depth 492 mm. The effective depth prime 40 mm. The cover concrete 40 mm. The diameter of the bars is 0.75. The span 1000 mm. The main bar size 16 mm. The main yield strength is 275 mm. The stirrup diameter is 10, and the stirrup yield strength is 437.5 MPa. And the concrete compression of strength is 28 MPa. The area of strength is 157.08 millimeters squared. So for maximum spacing ay 86.49 mm. So this one, the face support. Summary for the number of bars 141 at 50, span of 50, the number of bars 40 at at 150. Number of bar 6 is 6 at 100. Rest. So for the two-way slab from ground floor to second floor, design parameters. So compression strength of concrete is 28 MPa. The yield strength of steel bar is 275. The bar diameter is 10 mm. The thickness of slab is 0.1 millimeter, and the longer dimension of slab is 5 meter, and the shorter dimension of slab is 3. Shorter dimension of slab is, which is the support condition, is case 4. So the dimension loads, so 4.8 for live loads, slab 3.53 kPa, and the finishes 1.1 kPa, support imposed 0.21, the total dead loads of 401 kPa, 4.1 rather. So use the 0.0051 minimum. So place for the slab dimensions. And let's see the detailing of the structural plan. It's for my foundation plan and wall footing layout. So the footing tie beam, the footing and the column, so yeah, and the wall footing, and for the second floor framing and the roof beam framing. So I duha ka category or groups, which is beam 1 and the beam 2. And for the roof beam, isa lang siya. And for the schedule of columns, so 400 by 400 mm, and cover 40 mm, and confining zone 450 mm, and the yielding strength is 275 MPa. This one. The roof beam level, same lang sa second floor, 400 by 400 mm. For the detail of column, and for my trusses, for the trusses details, this is the truss 1, the half truss 1, and the full truss 2. And for the schedule slab details, so typical slab. And for the schedule of tie beam, so na siya 200 by 300 mm lap span, so which is the diameter of 10 mm, and the footing 1 and column 1 400 by 400 mm, and 1550 by 1550 for the footing. Talos unia sa from natural ground line is 1500 mm. And for the whole footing details, and for the typical footing tie beam details, and for the Typical beam details. So, stirrup spacing to be at least of 600 mm. Diameter of 135 degree in top bar. And the schedule of beam for the second floor. Sa beam 1 is 350 mm by 400 mm. So, the diameter of 10 mm. And beam 2 is 350 mm by 400 mm. And for the schedule of beams, so from the roof beam, so na siya 350 by 400 mm and a diameter of 10 mm. So no concrete compressive strength is 21 MPa or 3000 psi. The steel reinforcement yield strength is 475.8 MPa or grade 40. So may schedule of beams. And for the activity 3, which is the BOQ or BL entity. So the general requirements now 774,952 or 0.01. Site earthworks 22,159, and the reinforcing concrete works subtotal of 573,727.04. The subtotal of the masonry is 148,746.96. In the roof framing works is 66,551.28. And for the thermal and moisture protection, subtotal of 29,054.82. In the doors and windows, total of 94,931.11. So the finishes, the painting works, the wooden surface accessories, 99,299.53. So the carpentry works is 52,973.35. The plumbing works, is the lump sum is 208,967.85. So nanadiritan na ng mga gamit sa plumbing. And the electrical also is 35,823.06. So the total project cost of 1,519,760.91. So the labor, the welder, electrician, painter, plumber, helper, skilled carpenter, and mason, foreman, with a subtotal of 579,000. The number of days is 60. The summary, this one. And for the activity 4, is the two-story, the work breakdown structure or the WBS, the two-story na siya category nga kaupaton, which is the design, structural, utilities, the finishing. The design is permits, decide on plans, makes changes to plans. For the structure is excavation and leveling, the pour foundation, the framing, the roof joist, the floor joist. And for the utilities is plumbing and electrical. The finishing is painting, windows and doors, floor ties, ceiling, and external finishing work. So activity network and per CPM. So for the activity, which is na ABC, DE, which is A is excavate, B is structural works, the C is plumbing works, D is electrical works, and E is finishing works. So for excavate, for 2 days, and for the structural works for 50 days, which is nadra sa sulod ang sa 50 days na magamit na ang plumbing works and the electrical works, which is 7 days for plumbing works and 7 days for electrical works. So for finishing works is 10 days duration. So this one. For the this line is dependence, and the critical path in the float is F. So this. And last is the bar chart schedule. So this one, the general requirements, the amount, first week to second week, 37,000. The earthworks is 22,000, and the structural works, we divide na siya 6. So this one, bar chart schedule, for the 9 weeks duration. And that's all. Thank you.